And actually, I'm going to get it live. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, guys, 1 second. All right, so Joe, here's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to basically focus on what you guys need to implement before the end of the year and what you can do to just like kick ass from now until the end of the year. Now, keep in mind, everything that you guys do right now is not only going to help finish this year super strong, but it sets up next year. Now, what's the one dreaded thing that sucks about real estate? January 1st. What's the one thing that everybody has to go through in this industry? Can anybody share it with me? Come on, don't be shy. What's the one thing that sucks about real estate? January 1st, every year, what happens? Help me out here.
Reset.
Reset. Every year you start at zero and you get to fucking do it all over again. And every year realtors get anxiety because they're like, oh my God, I got to rebuild it. So the best thing you can do though is to finish the year strong because it gives you momentum so you can have a strong January and February. And I can tell you, if you can get momentum in January and February, it's a great way to start your year. Starting slow, never the funnest because then you feel like you're catching up all year. So the one thing that I want everybody to kind of implement is I'm going to share something with you guys that I think is really important, but it's basically creating a really strong list. And basically what I want you guys to do is really segment your list and figure out who your A clients are, your B clients, and your C clients. So I'm going to help you guys identify that right now. Give me 2 seconds.
I actually have every client in my database rated A to D.
Okay, sweet. I'm going to show you something that I want every one of you guys to kind of do is create your own kind of VIP program. So here's what it is. And I can send everybody a copy of this, but here's what I want you guys to do is I want you to create your very own kind of VIP program, right? And I want you guys to go and organize your list this week, block in time and organize your list. And I want you to be able to organize it from A, B, and C clients. And I'm going to tell you what an A, a B, and a C client is. An A client, think of them as somebody that's referred you 2 or more clients in the last year, or maybe they've done 2 transactions with you. Maybe they've bought with you or sold with you, and then they've referred you somebody. So that would be, to me, an A client. These are the clients that are your advocates that are going out of their way to help you grow your business. These are the people that are giving you the highest return on investment. So you really want to make sure you take care of them. The second one I want you to focus on is your B client. So these might be people that have done business with you in the last couple of years. Maybe they've referred you somebody in the last year or 2. These are pretty good advocates and good clients. And again, they definitely deserve to be get those extra touches, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then your C clients, which is basically everybody else, your friends, your SOI, your sphere, past market evaluations that you've done, referral partners. Those are all key strategic people that I want you guys to identify. So here's what you're going to do. Step 1 is you're going to create and identify your list. Jesse, you're ahead of the game, it sounds like. So know your list. Make sure that you tag them in your CRM system. So if you don't have them in your CRM system, you need to do that. What I want you guys to do is then create a systematic plan that will allow for that you'll basically follow for each group going forward. This makes it very easy for you to scale your business and replicate. As you maybe add leverage into the future, it's easy for somebody to own this. And then we're going to focus. The next thing is executing the plan and implementing it. Really straightforward. So A-list, let's talk about what you could do for an A-list client. So I'm going to give you guys ideas. This is going to be your own program. So I'm going to challenge you guys to develop your own program and focus on really actioning it, because this will help your referral culture. This will help you guys build advocates. It will help you guys exponentially grow your referral business. Like, it works if you just implement it and understand that it's a process. So for your A-list clients, Maybe it's sporting tickets, theater tickets. Maybe it's creating an amazing dinner experience, right? Maybe you partner with a local restaurant. And as an example, Robert Cole, let's just say you're one of my A clients. And I basically have the restaurant owner reach out to you, and he calls you up and he's like, hey, Rob, my name's Jason. I'm calling you from blah, 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 whatever the really fancy restaurant is. Your realtor, Jason Smart, actually reached out to me and wanted me to invite you and your wife for an amazing experience on him. And I was just wondering to book that reservation and what do you guys have available, right? So they go ahead and create an experience. Maybe you have a limo, maybe I have a limo pick you and your wife up, drive you guys, take care of your meal, drinks, everything's on me. And then the limo drives you home. Say it cost me, I don't know, $500, $600 to create that VIP experience. Now that may sound like a lot of money, but if you think about it, how many of the people on this call would happily pay 25% on a referral to another realtor? Show of hands. And I can guarantee you it's a lot more than $500 for that referral payment, right? This is a VIP client. This is somebody that's done multiple transactions with you that has likely referred you friends and family. Do you not think that you creating an elevated experience for them is going to make them feel like $1 million? Of course it will, right? Do something special. Then make sure you do it every year. The next thing is, if you don't have this set up, you need to get this implemented. Get your send out cards campaign set up where you've got your birthday card with brownies going out. You've got the annual home anniversary with a gift going out. Maybe your spring referral campaign card. Make sure you've got your weekly newsletter going out. Anybody that's worked with me knows that I'm a big fan of the monthly email. Send out a monthly email that's like one paragraph of something cool that's going on in your life with a nice little picture attached to it, and make sure you send that every month. Don't make it real estate related. Just make it about fun things that are going on in your life, and just make sure that your real estate signature tag is on the bottom of that email. The value there, guys, is that you're starting to build affinity and trust with your audience over time. Now, that's something you're going to want to make sure that goes out. The other thing is make sure that your VIP clients hear from you on the phone at least 2 times a year, and that they at least get 2 text messages from you per year. Consistency is key. Right? Make sure that you do one really cool annual pop-by gift basket, and you could do it around the holidays, for example. If you know your client's a big scotch drinker, right? Get them a really nice bottle of scotch, a nice gift basket, and show up around Christmas. Plan it out, maybe a couple weeks ahead, make sure they're home, but do a really nice, thoughtful pop-by. Those go a long way, guys. Really, really smart. Next thing is, if you're doing an annual client appreciation event, make sure that your VIPs, of course, are getting invited to that. Now, your next group is your B list. These are clients that you want to be in your VIP list in the future, but you basically are going to do all the same things, except you're probably not going to do that major experience that we talked about. But you could probably do all the other things, including the annual pop by with something really thoughtful. And then your C list clients, you can do your weekly newsletter, your monthly email that goes out. Make sure you're getting at least 1 annual call, 1 annual text, and then invite them out to your client appreciation event. The cool thing here is, though, is this program is easy to implement. It's scalable as you grow your business, and if executed, will actually deliver results in the long run. Now, the problem is most of you will probably not do it. You'll procrastinate on it. You'll be like, oh, it's such a good idea, but you won't actually do it. So I'm challenging you to actually go right now, block in your calendar a couple hours this week to work specifically on creating your own VIP program. Go in and figure out your database of clients and segment it so that you know who's your VIP and who's not. But treat them like absolute gold. That's really, really important. If you guys can implement this, it'll help you finish the year strong. It'll help you guys have a foundation for next year. And again, it's something that you can easily grow your referral book over and over. Joe, any thoughts on this, man?
I think it's amazing. We pride ourselves. We use words like concierge-based approach. We use words like, world-class experience, world-class service. And to me, when I look at that A, B, and C, we have it segmented out because that's what we strive to deliver. So for us, it's not just empty words. We show it in actions, and it makes it so much easier when we're asking for referrals, when we know we've got this program going out. So it's easier to leverage. Again, one thing we also talk to are, just constant contact with the people in your sphere. So important. It's great when we've got people labeled, you know, A, B, C, and then in Jesse's case, down to sort of your D clients or D refers. But I mean, how often are we actually talking to people? Right? Is there a text campaign that you're sending out every single day? You know, we're working with some brand new agents right now in our office. And one thing we went through today was the what's new and exciting text script, which goes hand in hand with this, because that's a great place to start if you haven't created those segments yet.
Love it. Any questions on this VIP program? Anybody? Show hands, anybody that's planning to actually implement their own VIP program. Show hands. All right, there's a few of you. All right, cool. Not everybody put up their hands. That's okay. I don't know what I need to do to convince you, but I promise you, you do this, it will help you grow your business because it actually does work. If you're afraid of putting yourself out there, get over it. You're in a people business. You're going to be rejected. It happens, but I can assure you people are going to appreciate the soft touches. The next thing that's really important to finish the year strong is I want you guys to grab all those sticky notes, those random papers all over your desk. I want you guys to go back and think of every single person that you've talked to, that you've written a name, phone number down, and I want you to get back out there and start reaching out to them. That's huge. There's a lot of money just sitting there right now that you guys probably have let slip through the cracks. If you showed them a house 6 months ago, a year ago, and you're wondering like what happened, get on the phone, start calling, start texting, but start finding all those low-lying fruit that are just sitting there. Start reaching out to them. Next thing is implement an action plan where you do all your heavy lifting before noon every day. Keep it simple. So for example, if you're into fitness, get your fitness done first thing in the morning. That's going to give you the endorphin rush that you need. You're going to feel really mentally clear. You're going to feel positive. And then block in your prospecting from say 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock or 8:30 to 10:30, 8:30 to 11, but block that in early in the day where you have the highest level of willpower. And you're going to absolutely feel like you've accomplished something at the very least. Even if your afternoon gets derailed and you are out there having to do a million things, you know, you put in some time for yourself, you put in some time for your business. So time block that. Now, serious question here. Show of hands, how many people have everything scheduled in their calendar? Personal time, business, prospecting, show hands. Not many hands going up. So there's a huge area of opportunity. So I'm going to show you a quick little easy way that you can plan your schedule. Start this way. Start with your personal time. So we're going to call that gym and hobbies. So when you build out your calendar, go in and actually block in when you're going to go to the gym and work out. If you're playing baseball or if you're doing dodgeball, block it in your calendar. If you like to play golf, block that in your calendar. Second thing is you need to block in time for your relationships. So we're going to call this relationships and we're going to call this family and friends. Who here honestly has a date night booked once a week with their spouse? Show of hands. No hands going up. Block in a date night once a week. If you're in the real estate business, you probably have ruined multiple birthdays and vacations because of the industry. Okay. So the one thing you could probably do is start showing your spouses that they're a priority. So actually block in a date night, maybe on a Wednesday evening. How about this for a cool concept? Turn your phone off for 2 hours, 3 hours, and literally give them your full undivided attention without glancing at a screen for 2-3 hours. Do that consistently for the next 90 days and then report back on how your relationship is. Guaranteed you'll see an improvement. Just little things like that. I block in something that changed my family's life is literally from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every morning. I literally have breakfast with my family and I just help out in the morning. Just having that blocked in and not blocking anything else has made a huge impact in my marriage. So block in personal time, block in your time for family, relationships, friends. Heck, if you want to spend more time with your kids, maybe block in an hour or two where you like take them to a park or you go and do an activity with them, but like block it in your calendar so it's in there just like anything. And remember, if it's in your calendar, it's not a removable item. You cannot absolutely under no circumstances cancel on date night. You cannot cancel date night. If you do that, you're basically saying to your spouse that they're not that important. I'm telling you, figure out a way. I promise you, just like a market evaluation, you would never reschedule that. You're not going to reschedule those date nights. Do not reschedule that time with your kids either. So block it in and then hold yourself accountable to actually doing it. And then the third thing is then block in your business. See, you can actually have what I call a counterbalance if you just time block and cut all the fluff out. There's a lot of fluff that a lot of you are doing on a daily basis, which is not bringing you tangible results. So schedule all these things in. And my advice is schedule all the heavy lifting, like personal time, relationship stuff, and business. Try and get a lot of it done before noon every day. So if you can get an hour for yourself, an hour for your family, and then 2 to 3 hours dedicated to your business development, I promise you just doing that alone will get you guys massive results. I've taken agents from doing 10 deals to 30, 40, 50 deals a year just by following that action plan. Super straightforward, very actionable, and something that you guys can all benefit from right away to finish the year strong. Show of hands. Who here is going to actually go and implement some time blocking and make their family a priority, personal time a priority, and actually get your business development booked in? All right. I like seeing those hands go up. It's simple, but it will get you guys massive impact. The next thing is I want you guys, and this is the final thing I'm going to leave you on today. I wanted to keep this short and sweet. I want you guys to create a measurable activity plan that's super, super simple. And I want you guys to do something like this: 10 calls, 10 texts, 10 emails, 1 social media post. You can do a 20-20, depending how ambitious you are. You can do a 15-15, but I want you guys to do this, and I want you to do it 5 days a week. Ideally, just do it Monday to Friday. Build in your schedule and make sure you're consistently doing this. Now, what will happen here is a compounding effect. Every day that you do this and you don't skip out on it is a day where you're moving yardsticks forwards. It's more contacts that you're putting out there, and it's more irons in the fire. And I assure you, you'll see massive impact by literally just following this strategy. Now, if you're ambitious and you have a big goal that you've stretched yourself to, make it 20-20-20, 25-25-25. If you're using a dialer, make that an even bigger number, but set something specific, measurable, and actionable that you can absolutely deliver on, because that's what works. This business is not sexy. I'm telling you guys, a lot of people try and make this like glamorous, like you see, the $1 million agent on TV, but I'm telling you right now, that's just not reality. The reality of it is it's hard work and it's not that glamorous. There's a lot of late nights and there's a lot of extra time that goes into it. The good news is, though, is you don't have the glass ceiling that most of you have had at your jobs. You have the opportunity to create a legacy and an income that's far surpasses most people that you know. However, on the flip side is it's not going to be handed to you. You have to go out and earn it. So my challenge to you guys to finish the year strong is get your VIP program set up, plan it out, know exactly what you're going to do, implement it. Then I want you guys to go in and time block your personal time, your family time, your business development. And then I want you guys to set a measurable activity plan where you know exactly how many calls, how many texts, how many emails and social media posts you want to do per day. Focus on executing that. Don't focus on the outcome, focus on that. And then find an accountability partner to help you with that. And if we can help you in any way, absolutely. I do this with some of you already. Send me your daily text with your wins, but it works. Pasha, how's your year going, bud? Pretty good. Pasha and I've been working together for several months now, and you've been really consistent with your activities. You know, there's some days that they're a little lower than you'd like them to be, but you're still doing them. How's it impacted your business? I mean, you've been doing it for what, 5 months now? About 5?
Yeah, really good. I mean, the inventory, the market is what the market is. So there's a little bit delays in there, but the funnel keeps building, right? Listings stay, that's not a problem. The buyers, that's my only real problem right now is just locking them in on deals, right? But the last month or two has been wonderful. So let's see. So far, so good though.
You're doing well over a deal a week consistently, right? And I think you've already surpassed your best year so far this year.
Yeah.
And again, it's
financially
simple, measurable activities, right? Jesse, what happens in your business, my man, when you focus on your measurable activities and you just cut out all the other shit and you stay laser focused? What seems to happen?
Goes through the roof.
It goes through the roof. And then what happens when you kind of ride out servicing that business and you don't stay consistent with your activities? What happens?
Not so much through the roof.
Bender, how about you, buddy? What happens when you're laser focused on your activities, my man.
Well, I get things done, things start happening, and the pipeline's filled up, less stress, more
Right.
income.
More income, consistency. Consistency comes from doing these non-sexy things consistently day over day. And you have to build them in like a standard. And I'm not asking you guys to be on the phones for 8 hours a day. Literally block in 2 hours, 3 hours a day, and just make it a priority. Do it earlier in the day when you have willpower and consistently execute on it. We can refine your skills as we go. We've got tons of skills training classes and materials so we can improve the things that you're doing. But I can tell you right now, you could be the most skilled person on the phones and practice. But like, if you're not actually going out there and skinning your knees and taking massive levels of action, it's not worth anything. So that's kind of like the moral of the story here, guys. Ryan, you're on pace to do how many deals this year?
We'll do over 100.
100 deals this year. What was your best year before this one?
54 deals last year.
So this shit works, guys. This shit works. It works really well. So that's my message for today. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, give you guys something tangible and impactful. If you guys want, we'll make that, I'll make that available in our, Joe, where can I make that VIP thing available?
We'll post it. We'll post it to the Facebook group.
Okay, perfect. We'll post it to the Facebook group so people can get a copy of it. And there's a few more minutes, so I'm happy to sit back and answer questions, maybe get some feedback, anything that people have on their minds. If you're thinking it, I bet you 5 other people are thinking it too, so don't be shy. What questions, what can I help you guys with? Anything you're struggling with, anything that's going well, let's hear it. Crickets.
One thing that I can say that's
There
going well is Eric Preston's beta test is going really well.
Awesome. Tell us more about it.
Well, I find that the material is just the right length. It's not too long, it's not too short, so it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming. It's very clear. The steps are really good. He has 2 meetings a week that are helping us in terms of answering any questions and sorting anything out. And the Facebook group as well. You can ask questions if it's something simple, we'll answer it there. But the content so far is really good.
Yeah, he shared a lot of it with me, and I was super impressed. He's a very sharp guy, and there's tons of value there. So if you guys don't know Eric Preston, great guy to get to know. He's got a phenomenal program that he's put out there, and yeah, it's hugely tangible.
Yeah, I did his first program, and that one really overwhelmed me. This one, he's really taken it down to be the essential stuff and stuff that you can really take action on.
Totally. He made it more realtor friendly. I think he realized that most of us don't have engineer minds. Anybody else? Anybody want to share something that's winning? Jessica.
I have a question. For starting out realtors, you like the time blocking you said is key. And I know a certain realtor who started out and did not block in a lot of time because he was building his business. Is that something, say you discuss with your spouse, is that something that you can be flexible on when you're trying to build your business? So
here's what I'd say, right? Is if I could go back in time and I was coaching myself, I would have taught myself counterbalance earlier.
Yeah.
I wasn't balanced in the first few years, and I've been very open about that. And that has had an impact, of course, on my relationship with my wife and my kids, because, you know, when maybe you're around, but you're never present, people notice that, kids notice it, right? So what I would do is I would have a conversation with your spouse. And as long as you build in things like an hour to have breakfast in the morning, maybe an hour to have dinner together, right? Maybe you block in a date night once a week, put some parameters around your business, right? And don't be flex. Like if somebody asks you for an appointment during that time, you just say, hey, you know what? I'd love to, however, have an appointment during that time. How about this? And offer a different solution. That really does work. And it's amazing if you just learn how to say no without saying no and not making somebody feel like you're putting a hand in their face. You can pretty much guard your schedule. Because if you had a market evaluation appointment, you would never cancel that, right? Like you would make sure you showed up for it. So just treat these appointments, these personal appointments, these family appointments, treat them the same.
Okay.
And there's enough flexibility in your schedule where you can accommodate your buyers and sellers, and you're going to be able to be a workaholic and an absolute maniac, but maybe you can preserve your relationships along the way, which is probably worth it, right?
Yeah.
Because most of us are working because we want to provide a great life for our families, but we still want to keep our marriages together. We still want our relationship with our kids. And there is a way to do it. It's called counterbalance, but you have to be efficient. Cut the fluff out. There's a lot of fluff, Jesse Johnson. When you're a smart guy and you're fucking trying to do a million things, doesn't work. Stay laser focused on the basic activities that work, which is hitting the phones, talking, prospecting, lead generating. That's probably the smartest place to spend your time as a realtor.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. But yeah, block in those little times. Anybody else?
Jason, talk about, building like online leads when you're just kind of establishing conversations and whatnot. I know that I've kind of followed some of the text templates that you guys use when people are on the website browsing and different things, but how, like, really to nurture those types of conversations, what are kind of your top tips of having conversations with people? Is it just more, what can I do to help you? Those types of things.
So just to clarify, so are these people that you've made contact with?
Yeah, like I've made contact with them, as in set up their search criteria, and maybe they've given me a little bit of information, but not a lot. Like they've just been, yeah, no, everything's good. Thanks. You set up the home search. I'm just kind of looking for in the South End.
Right. Okay. So what I would do, a couple things. A, make sure that what we're sending is accurate. So, hey, Ryan, let me know what changes I can make.
Yeah.
And then try and hone in on some things that maybe they've shared with you in the past. For example, if they're looking for a certain type of yard or a kitchen or something like that, maybe bring up some of those things. Say, hey, I know this listing might not fit the bill fully, but like, what do you think about this kitchen? Try and sort of elicit like a bit of interaction from them.
I see.
Right. Get to know the clients a little bit more. So if anybody knows, I'm a big fan of doing like a monthly email that kind of like is something cool that's going on in your life that showcases who you are, and then ask a question. Make sure they're involved in those emails and that it feels personalized, because the more you can start learning about them as a person, not just even real estate related, the more points of relation that you can have, and then the easier your follow-up can be. If they're big into hockey and maybe they're moving into Regina, for example, from another market, you could be sending them information on the hockey programs. You could be, pointing out some things that could be valuable and helpful. So I think the biggest thing is being a really good listener and understanding what's going on in their lives, what they're into, not just being fully 100% about real estate, and then use those points, right? Areas, area videos are always helpful. Some of the things to do, like restaurants, areas like that. Hey, Ryan, I just thought I'd throw this out there. I don't know if you've ever been to this restaurant, but I just did a little video on it. What are your thoughts? Have you been here before? What did you think? Just anything to kind of get them to open up.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're dealing with humans, right? And humans can be complex, but at the end of the day, they like to feel like they know, like, and trust you before they want to do business with you. And that's kind of like the theme behind all of our follow-ups and everything that we do, is to kind of build that trust.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's the monthly email going out to? Monthly email would go out to your A client, B client, and your C client. So that would be all of them. I would make sure they're getting it, but I'll show you an example of that.
Hey, Jason, so how often do you actually reach out to the people that you set them up on a property alert?
It depends. Depends on how, what kind of conversation you've had, how much you've identified. But the system is going to be doing touches with your weekly email or your monthly email. All these things that you're doing will be touches that are going out to them. But I think the biggest thing is your goal and your objective should be to get them to commit to, if they're a buyer, get them to commit to an exploratory tour where you can actually go out and look at properties with them. And that's a really good place where you can really learn what they're into and what they're not into. And you could talk about, hey, this is actually part of our process. This is something that we do with our clients that people find really helpful. It allows me to understand exactly what you're looking for, but it also helps you develop context for, realistically what you could afford in the marketplace. And I think people appreciate that. And if you take the pressure off, you say, listen, we're not going to buy a house on that first tour. Don't worry about it. Like, it's a really good educational moment. People like that. Once you have that commitment, then try and get in front of them with a Zoom consultation where you can really dial in your process a little bit more. But that should be kind of your goal, is to move them from behind the keyboard to actually going out and looking at properties. Because it's amazing what happens once you start getting people to walk through homes that are a good fit. Actions just starts moving quickly. Like, you can really see it go from 0 to 100 very, very quickly based on them now walking through homes that fit their criteria, right? It's like the test drive. If with a dealership, their goal is they always want to get you behind the wheel of a test drive, because they know that the percentage of people that end up buying goes way through the roof when they've done a test drive. So it's kind of the same sort of thing with getting people through a home. And because they're not going to buy a home from behind a keyboard. They have to go through and feel it and see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to show you guys a little email that I did that works really well. And I'll critique it too, of what I would do differently, knowing what I know now with students. But so here's a little email that I sent out. It's really simple. And you guys can follow this exact format. Hey, James, what's new and exciting? And then basically just one quick little paragraph. So I was just thinking about you. We should connect soon. I've been busy at work and keeping our 4 kids entertained this year. It's been a fun and unique challenge. We took advantage of low interest rates and purchased a secondary home on Gabriola. It's been great for our family because we've been outside exploring instead of watching TV or texting. I couldn't think of a better place to be stranded during a pandemic than here on Vancouver Island. I even did some mushroom picking this year and couldn't believe how much fun that was to do with the kids. Chanterelles were in abundance. It was like a treasure hunt. What have you been up to? ? And it's from me, and they can see my realtor's tag. And then you can see the responses are pretty cool. People start really sharing what's going on in their life. So my advice to you guys is follow that format. Add a picture though, to capture like the paragraph, like add a picture that kind of like encompasses the experience in the moment. So I should have added a picture to it, personalizes it a little bit more. And then don't be afraid to even send a text with it. So like, hey, Joe, I sent you an email, quick email. When you get a minute, love to hear back from you. So you can send a text, and then you can send out an email like that. Say you sent that email out to 10 people a day in your A, B, and C list. You're going to get some responses and some engagement. And again, you do it once a month, just change it up a little bit, but kind of that same format. And it's kind of the point of it is for them to kind of get a glimpse of like what you're into, what's going on in your world. It's kind of like an easy way for them to stay connected. And then they're going to start opening up. And sometimes they won't say anything, and that's okay. But I promise you they're going to read it, because it's only one paragraph. And if it's personalized, people read it. And those touches go a long way, because there's 12 of them over the course of a year on top of everything else. Was there a question in the chat here? Do you have a budget set aside for each ABC clients? If so, does it change with the time and cost efficiency of a customer? So look, for an A client, you can figure out your budget, but I wouldn't nickel and dime that too much. If it's $500 per year for an A client, then put that budget behind it. If you could afford $250, whatever you do, try to make it as impactful and as thoughtful as you can. But your A clients, maybe you only have 5 or 10 right now. Maybe you've got 20, right? Treat them like gold. Maybe your B clients, you put like a $50 budget, $75, $100 budget around that for the year, right? Again, you guys can kind of decide what's going to work. All of your finances are going to be uniquely different. But what I would say is, again, how much would you pay for a referral from another agent? You'd pay 25%, right? So it's going to be a lot less expensive to build a referral business, like way less expensive. And it's more predictable once you build these systems in play. So if that answers the question, I hope it did. But you'll know your budget better than I will, right? Everybody's are a little bit different. What are my thoughts on a social media manager? So Shan, what are you like talking about, somebody like running your social media for you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Somebody who could, do your postings for you across the board, Instagram, Facebook. So you pick the content, you plan it out ahead of time, and they go ahead and execute it. So this way you're not constantly on it. It is approved by you, but you're not physically putting the pieces together.
So I would say you'd have to be at a pretty big business for that to make sense, because there's so many like programs out there now that you can like literally automatically post. So you could plan out, say, 1 or 2 hours a month you could literally plan out your content for the next 30 days or 60 days. And then just a matter of making sure that you've got the pre-built content. So I don't know that it's necessarily a cost that you need if you're going to only use it that way, because there's so many like Hootsuite and things like that where you can schedule posts. And we've got Paige that can kind of go over some things that we do around that. But a social media post is super simple. Just document some of the cool shit that you're doing in a day. You're showing a cool property, you're at a cool coffee shop area. Take a minute and just capture that moment. And then always ask a good question that kind of engages your audience. So as opposed to just posting like, oh, just listed, just sold, which is like the same shit that every realtor does, post something that's like thoughtful and gets people talking. If it's a business that you like, or a restaurant, or an experience, or a funny moment as a parent, but pose it as a question. But social media is actually easier than people make it out to be. You just got to do it. You've got a computer in your pocket at all times and just document cool stuff. All you got to do is own a couple seconds of mind share every day, just a couple seconds of mind share to stay top of mind. That's kind of like the goal with social media. And just be interesting, have cool things that you're doing. That'd be my advice. Now, if you're running a big business and yes, you want to have a social media manager, then there's a lot more in-depth stuff that they can be doing. But I would say focus on a YouTube strategy, focus on a Google review strategy. And then, Instagram's probably a really good place to spend time right now. That's an area of opportunity for us. We were kind of dinosaurs and did the Facebook thing when we started, but it worked well for us. Anybody else? Great questions, by the way.
Grouping leads. Right now, I'm kind of struggling with figuring out, okay, this buyer I've contacted, are they going to be buying in 30 to 60 days? How do you kind of group it to keep your database organized? Because I think that's, in order to have strong follow-up, you need to have a well-organized database and tagging and identifying those leads in the funnel. What can you explain about that?
Yeah, really good question. So for me, I kept things really simple. When I was in production, it was really simple. I had my A, B, and C clients, or hot, warm, and then everybody else. So my hot prospects were like my 90 days or less. My warm prospects were basically 90 days to a year. And then everybody else was like, the not interesteds, the people that were kind of like looky-loos, unsure, but I still kept them in my database because a lot of them are for sure going to do something, but maybe they just didn't divulge that up front. So that's kind of how I did it. I kept it really simple. Now I know Jamie and Joe in our client care department have it much more dialed in and detailed, but like for a busy agent, you don't have time to go and spend 8 hours to kind of create all these perfect systems. So keep it simple for yourself, right? You can easily add a seller tag to your leads that are sellers, right? So if you're going through your hot prospect list, you can see who the sellers are. You can literally click on sellers and it'll show you all your sellers. So you can kind of do that. That's what I did. I kept it super simple because I know that if it's overly complicated, I'm just not going to do it. So I assume that's probably what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Yeah.
Just like whatever you're actually going to do, that's what I would stick with. And so A, B, and C is pretty easy, or hot, warm, and cold is a probably easy format. And then every day you start with your hot prospect list, then you move to your warm list. Look at your active people on the website, right? And again, your hot prospects are the ones you should start your day with because those are the ones most likely to transact. Your warm lists are the ones that, hey, can I move them into an exploratory tour? Can I start moving them along in the process, right? So you're constantly wanting to do that. And your goal, guys, is you want to have 25 to 30 people in your hot prospect list at all times. That's your 90 days or less looking to buy and sell at all times. That's your goal. That's an ambitious goal for some, but really, once you get it to that, you'll have a predictable business where you're doing pretty close to 80 to 100 deals a year if you can keep it at that. If you're doing 30 to 40, I bet you're probably hovering around 12 to 15 in your hot prospect list at all times. If you're doing 10 deals a year, I bet you have 2 to 5 at all times. And 2 to 5 is a stressful number because it takes 1 or 2 deals to not come together, or clients decide not to do something, and then you're pretty freaking stressed. But when you have 25 to 30, you're never worried about one deal falling apart or a client because you're constantly adding to it. And it gives you confidence when you're taking massive levels of action and you have a big pipeline. It gives you a lot of confidence. and it takes away the anxiety of the business. The anxiety only happens when you're sitting there overthinking and not doing. That's the truth. How many of you are still having anxiety when you're out there in client meetings and showing properties and doing income producing activities? I bet you almost none of you have anxiety in those moments. The anxiety you feel is when you're sitting there not doing anything and you're thinking too much and you're trying to think ahead. I always tell people thinking is not always a good thing in our business because it very much rewards action. Analysis paralysis has killed more dreams and businesses than anything else on the planet. I've met so many brilliant people that were unfortunately so stupid in the sense that they could not realize that their analysis paralysis is what was holding them back. That was the only difference between them leading a life of abundance versus a C student who was just focused on action. All right. Any other final questions? We can wrap this up if there's no other questions. I hope there was some value though. I hope you guys were able to take one or two things. That's sort of the point of these things. One or two things that you can implement. If you don't have your VIP program, block it in your calendar, take action on that. Set your activity plan for the rest of the year and really focus on keeping your foot on the gas pedal. As people start relaxing because some of them have had a really good year, this is an opportunity for you guys to take market share. And remember, everything you do now, you might not see the fruits of that labor until Q1 or Q2 of next year, but believe me, you'll want deals then too. Cheers.